Now, this is a particularly nasty little question. I can't see where to start apart from to remove the brackets. So I'm going to remove the bracket from 5 minus root x squared, which is the same as 5 minus root x multiplied by another 5 minus root x. So let's see what we get when we remove the brackets. So I'm going to do 5 times 5, well that's 25. So the outer 5 times minus root x, well that's just minus 5 root x. So I'm going to do another minus root x times 5, well that's another minus 5 root x. And then I'm going to do this term multiplied by this term, well a minus times a minus is a plus. And if I do the square root of x times the square root of x, which is the square of the square root, then the square root is going to disappear. I'm going to rewrite this as, I'm going to do the non-square rooty bits first, so that's 25 plus x, and then I can put these two together. Minus 5 root x minus another 5 root x is minus 10 root x. Now, I am told that that expression is the same as y minus 20 root 2. And this is where I think this question is a little bit mean. On the left-hand side and on the right-hand side, you have got some irrational bits. Well, there's the irrational bit. Remember, the irrational bit is the surd part, because surds cannot ever be written as fractions, so they are what we call irrational. So if we look at the left-hand side and the right-hand side, and if I just highlight that, okay, this part on the left-hand side, the minus 20 root 2, because the left-hand side and the right-hand side are equal, those two highlighted bits must also be equal. And in the same vein, this y must be equal to the 25 plus x. So those are the real parts. The real bits are equal to each other, and the imaginary bits are not the rational and the irrational bits are equal to each other. Okay, so if we look at the next bit, I know that y is going to equal 25 plus x. Doesn't really help me, but I'll just keep that in mind for later. And I also know that minus 20 root 2 is equal to minus 10 root x. Well, let's see if I can figure out from that what x is. Well, for a start, I can multiply both sides by minus 1. So I can see that 20 root 2 is going to equal 10 root x. And if I divide both sides, by 10, then the left-hand side becomes 2 root 2, and the right-hand side becomes root x. And I can now square both sides. Now, if I square the right-hand side, if I square the square root of x, that just becomes x. If I square the left-hand side, be careful here, if you square ab, then you end up with a squared times b squared. So I'm going to have to square the 2, well, 2 squared is 4, and then I'm going to multiply, by root 2 squared. Well, if I square the square root of 2, it just gives me 2. So x must be 4 times 2, which is 8. Now, what needs me to find y? Well, I can see from up here that y is equal to 25 plus x, which means that y must equal 25 plus 8, and 25 plus 8 is 33. So x is 8 and y is 33.